For those of us who are moving into like this 5D consciousness, time and space and all of these things are really just variables in this camouflage system. When we go into deep metaphysics, time, what we perceive to be past events and future events, are actually being organized around our current state of being. So just like we have future probabilities based on our current state of being, you actually have past trajectories that are also probabilities that are used to describe your current state of being. And this brings to mind actually something that Sadhguru once said. It definitely did not land softly. He said, actually, your trauma is just your excuse for your current state of being. Okay? It was not verbatim, but it was something like that. And that's pretty harsh. But from a metaphysical standpoint, it's actually very true. Now, I think that we all, when we come into this knowledge, we come in at different places. If you're coming in while you're in the midst of something that's quite toxic and traumatic, you know, it's nice to be sensitive to the unfolding where that person is at or where you yourself are at in that situation. But it is something to keep in mind metaphysically that in this new version of yourself, your past history is being used to describe how you got here. But in fact, from the metaphysical broader perspective, it's actually your state of being that is calling up that most likely past that can be used to explain this experience. So maybe some of you are saying, hey, that doesn't make any sense because I checked with my mother. She has the same memories as me. All the world events are shared. But that's what it is. This is a multi-dimensional, multifaceted, holographic experience. It's like a virtual reality for spirit. We are the animations inside the comic book, so to speak. And when we change, the entire history updates. So some of you are familiar with like the Mandela effect. I certainly have had many experiences with the Mandela effect. I think that's how you pronounce it, based on Nelson Mandela. I was one of those people. I'm a 70s baby, and I remember reading that he died. Then I read that he went into prison like a decade later. Then I read that he died in prison. Then I read that he got out of prison and became president. Then I read he died again. I mean, this guy has like gone and come back more than JC. It's crazy. I don't know. Hopefully people are writing books about it just like they did with the Bible. But this is the Mandela effect. And I remember I had the same experience with another big one. We could call it the Goodall effect. Jane Goodall. She was like a primate biologist, and I was a big fan. I loved biology when I was in high school, so I read all about her. And I remember reading that she died. Then a decade later, I realized she had come back to life and she was doing great work. And then I read that she died again, like actually I think maybe in the last decade or something like that. And it was almost hilarious. So what does this say? The new state of being that I'm in, this is what I'm venturing to say here, we're actually moving into different timelines. And as we change, we'll move into timelines that are more reflective of who the new version of us are. And all history and events will be lined up with that. All the people we meet will be lined up with this new history. And that also explains why sometimes we have completely different versions of events with even those who are close to us. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much you try and iron it out. Everyone has their own freaking perspective on it. So this kind of ties into the metaphysical perspective that actually everyone is having their own unique experience. It's kind of projected on this, it's like an overlay. It's projected on top of a co-created shared experience, and then there's actually myriad versions of that going on. So there's a general trajectory, and then there's all sorts of kind of alternative timelines that you can be stepping into depending on the version of yourself that you are becoming. Now I'm being guided to share about how, as humans, look, for the ego, it feels a little disempowering at first until the ego, as Seth says, becomes really plastic and understands like how much benefit it's going to have from having like spiritual education and expansion. But we don't choose, right? We didn't choose where we kicked off from. I've given the analogy, it's kind of like waking up at a card table and being like, okay, this is your hand in life, and now you got to play it. So what Spirit's saying is like, yeah, it's true. You don't remember choosing all of this, like this particular avatar, this particular trajectory, But you get to, as the conscious self, you get to choose what version of yourself you want to play. So you can choose any version of this avatar you want to play. You want to play the poverty chic version, you can do that. You want to play the super loaded version, you can do that. You want to play the super bohemian version, you can do that. Whatever you want. There's so many different options for how you want. I've also thrown out this metaphor. I mean, it comes from spirit, honestly. Like when I asked a lot of questions about destiny in my past as I remember it from this current state of being. And they would say, destiny is like being on a cruise ship. You are going to have certain ports of harbor you have to hit. You're going to have rendezvous with certain people, but you have a ton of free will for what version of yourself you want to be on the cruise ship, how you want to enjoy it. And you have tons of excursions and all sorts of things. If you want, you can do that. And what you make of those is also up to you, as long as you're kind of within the parameters of this theme that you came to explore. So how does this tie into this beautiful card that I pulled from the NLP card deck this morning? That's what kind of kicked off this whole subject, is that Spirit's saying, adjust your internal time code so you can have the most productive life. Like, many humans are just about being intelligent, how many numbers they can keep in their head, how many facts they can spit out. That's okay. Everybody has their own interests, and that's really cool. But really, Spirit's about wisdom. Okay, so for those who landed on a message like this, you're in that collective, you're that kind of person, you're that kind of character, and you're that kind of in that place in your journey where you really treasure wisdom. And wisdom is all about efficient badassery. Like, that's what wisdom is. Wisdom says, I can't control this, and this has nothing to do with me, so why the hell am I going to spend my precious psychic energy thinking about it? Okay, wisdom says, no, I don't agree with the politics of this country right now, but you know what? I practically can't do anything about this particular issue, so why am I going to let this, XYZ person live in my head rent-free? So we need to understand that our psychic energy is incredibly precious. There are no words for just how precious our energy is. Our focus is our spotlight. And one of the challenges that we came as spiritual athletes to kind of attain sovereignty over is for the mind to be pulled into the past and into the future and into all sorts of things that we don't actually have direct control over. What we do have control over, I'm hearing right now, is our present moment. How we choose to focus in this present moment, how we choose to appreciate what's coming through in this present moment, that is all within our control, within our reach. And wisdom says, use it wisely. Okay, now Neville Goddard is coming to mind. He has a whole book about it. It was called like the Wealth Mindset or something along those lines. And he's just saying, like, if you realize every single one of your thoughts is putting money in the bank, like metaphorically, money in whatever way you feel prosperous and abundant. It's different for everybody. But every thought that you have, every attitude you have, everything you're holding in this present moment is literally either an investment or you're going into deficit. It's a little heavy-handed, but essentially this is your 0 point moment. And I love this phrase. I believe I heard it from a channel. I want to say her name is Erin Lyons, and she just, oh God, it was so amazing. She channels like some aspect of source. And basically they said something along the lines of, your present is the portal to infinity. Okay, to the best probabilities that are available to you, your present is the portal to stepping into those realities. Use it wisely. Of course, we're human. There's tons of challenges. Our focus is all over the place, not to mention half of the world now has a diagnosis of ADD or something like that. But really, that's just because we don't fit in the box and we focus for most of us. Okay, everybody, has to check with their own physicians and all those kinds of things and check with their own discernment. But really, we just don't fit into those boxes. We don't operate as exactly the same. We all have different rhythms. We all have different ways. And so we need to honor that and be authentic, and then also use our God-given wisdom to focus in a way that really behooves us and brings benefit to us. So today the message is really just, hey, check it out. Where are you putting your mind? Are you putting it into the past, into things you can't control? Are you putting it all into the future? I actually use quite a bit of future meditations to kind of pull me forward, to kind of like charge my inner world with enthusiasm and excitement for what's going to come. And that's really wonderful. They're asking me to like just emphasize this if you're somebody like that, which is really great because you're moving towards your highest destiny. Just be aware not to be too attached to how things happen, when they happen, or the exact form that they happen. A lot of those future glimpses that we get are just to get us going in that direction. Sometimes they will download directly, they will actualize actually, and I can maybe in another video I'll share some of my own personal very specific actualizations, which was just kind of mind-boggling. But Spirit's saying, just remember that the whole purpose of this experience, well, is to experience. You're here to explore your themes, but you're here to have sovereignty, and your sovereignty does not include being an exacting creature that must get everything your way every single time. It's really about moving with grace and really choosing your own state of being, choosing your mood, moving from a place of deep love and deep wisdom. And that's why the construct is set up as it is, and it's not set up to directly give us everything we want every single time. It's really here to test you, to challenge us that, is this the state of being? Is this my true I am? If this is my true I am, I will get a reflection that fulfills and checks the essence of all of those I am boxes, statements, or vibrational offerings. So that's the message for today. It's just a gentle reminder or a gentle validation, confirmation that you're doing it right, that you're using your wisdom, that you're focusing in a way that's behooves you, and to realize, you know, for those of us who are moving into like this 5D consciousness, time and space and all of these things are really just variables in this camouflage system. Don't let them tie you down. Don't let them hold you back. And that's it. If you enjoyed this message, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy. This is a new channel where we dive into metaphysics, manifesting, mysticism, and explore the nature of reality. If you're interested in coaching, Akashic record readings, or visionary, mind-blowing art, you can find that information in the description box below. Thank you so much, and see you in the next message.